The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Welcome to the bonus show. Two great topics that I am interested in today. Climate change and finance-related regulations and decisions, I guess I'll say.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a good way to kind of categorize. Let's start with the climate change story. The vast majority of green sea turtles in an area of the Great Barrier Reef are now female because of climate change, according to a new research report in Current Biology. We've talked before about the importance or the effect that climate change can have through our oceans. And we've talked about how both ocean water temperature and the pH and acidification of oceans can wreak absolute and total havoc on different elements of the environment. The temperature at which turtle eggs incubate determines the sex of the baby turtles. Warmer nests, which are dug into beaches, mean more females. And just a couple of degree shift in the balance can tip what would be the natural balance of male to female turtles. And that's exactly what's happening because of the warmer temperatures at which turtle eggs are being incubated around the Great Barrier Reef. And you are seeing a feminization of the population. Now, by that, I don't mean what they were calling John Kerry, making John Kerry seem feminized in 2004 because he went wakeboarding. I'm talking about scientific feminization, right? More females being born. This is really problematic because you might say, well, okay, so more female sea turtles, who cares? For an ecosystem to be in balance, all of these factors have significant influence, and this is actually really problematic.
Yeah, I mean, my sense is that this species would go extinct, although it's not as if any given species has to be a 50-50 split,
No, it
male
doesn't.
and female, because there could just be more competition if one goes up and the other one goes down.
Sure.
But I mean, we're talking about a species that's probably lived for thousands and thousands of years, and if you just shift the ratio all of a sudden, when their ecosystem's not adapted to such a thing, I could imagine that they do go extinct.
Yeah, and in fact, it's normal not to have an exact 50-50 balance between male and female turtles. In fact, I guess normal is somewhere around 65 or 70%.
Wow.
But they're seeing in some parts of the Great Barrier Reef that nearly 99% of the new young turtles are being born female. That is so skewed that you're eventually going to have a bad time.
That's interesting. I mean, obviously humans are just about 50-50, and I thought that other species, by and large, were too. But maybe I'm just being a humanist over here.
Well, you know, I don't know whether the birth rate of humans is 50-50. We know that at any given time,
Women live longer.
there are more women on the planet because women tend to live longer. But we would actually have to look at the birth rate and see if it's 50-50. I mean, it's clearly very close, right? I think that's absolutely for sure. So, you know, it's a bummer, but we're learning every week about new ways in which global climate change is impacting ecosystems, and it's depressing. I don't know what else to say.
Unfortunately, those climate change so-called skeptics would say that species have been going extinct for all of time.
Millions of years, sure.
And this is nothing abnormal.
Yeah. Of course, science has addressed that, and they have what's called the background rate of extinction, which is sort of like the natural rate at which species go extinct. And we are overwhelmingly and drastically beyond the background rate of extinction today. Okay, let's talk about China, as Donald Trump likes to say, China and Bitcoin. The top internet finance regulator of China, called the Leading Group of Internet Financial Risks Remediation, lovely name for an organization, they have issued a notice saying that local governments need to start basically ending Bitcoin mining operations. Bitcoin mining, without getting into the entire explanation, Bitcoin mining is a process where you lend computing power in order to decrypt blocks that exist within the Bitcoin blockchain, and it generates money. It generates Bitcoin, which then you can sell for cash. It is extremely electricity intensive. So there's major concern about the amount of electricity consumption that is connected to Bitcoin mining, and China is saying, we got to put an end to this, for at least as far as they're saying, for no other reason than the amount of electricity consumption that it is creating. They say that they are going to limit the supply of electricity to locations identified as mining Bitcoin, which basically, if you don't have enough electricity to do it, it's no longer worthwhile because you're not going to successfully mine enough Bitcoin to make it worthwhile. And that's it. They're taking a very strong position. Now, at the same time that this is going on, China supposedly is considering allowing another cryptocurrency
Really?
called Neo, but that's not one that functions with the same mining.
Okay.
It's a China-based cryptocurrency, and there are rumors that China may allow Neo. And full disclosure, I own a little bit of Neo on the basis that China may at some point allow it, and that might cause the value of it to skyrocket. But Bitcoin mining, they want to shut down right away.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think a majority of Bitcoin mining takes place in China too.
A lot of it.
So maybe that would affect the market. in
And
some
part of it
regard.
is just because China has a huge population
Yep.
and a quickly growing middle class, so they just have a lot of people who can afford Bitcoin.
I just
mine
wonder
Bitcoin.
to what extent they can really crack down upon this, right? Because certainly if someone's using the electrical grid, they can spot them and close down their business, right?
Sure.
But if someone's off in some rural area running on hydroelectric power or something else, will they be able to catch them? Maybe not.
No, I don't think they would. I don't think
Yeah.
they would. Well, I guess it depends on whether they're connected to the grid or not. But I don't know how many people in rural China with geothermal or hydro are mining Bitcoin. It's probably not the top concern for the Chinese government, but you're probably right.
Yeah, do you buy the government's excuse that it's all about just power and electrical
consumption?
output? I think it may have something to do with the fact that Bitcoin isn't backed up by any government, right? It's
Well, you
not
can
a-
hide a lot of transactions, financial transactions with Bitcoin, and I don't think the Chinese government likes that. I
No.
think that's definitely a factor. Speaking of getting away from cash, not through Bitcoin, but just at stores, there are more and more restaurants, including Bluestone Lane Cafe in downtown Philadelphia, that are going completely cashless. And there are people who are still showing up and trying to pay with cash, and they are told, sorry, we only take credit cards. Now, growing up, I was much more familiar with, oh, sorry, we don't take credit cards.
Yeah.
We only take cash.
Cash
In
only.
fact, the great Michael's Deli in Brookline, Massachusetts, which I've recommended before. You can go in and say hi to Steven, tell him David Pacman sent you. They're not a sponsor. I just love the place, love a good Jewish
How's their
deli.
vegan fare?
I have no idea.
Non-existent,
Couldn't tell
maybe?
you. Actually, would a potato knish be vegan? Is knish dough, does it
I don't know
have
what that is.
it probably has eggs. Actually, I don't know. Anyway, maybe. Go in and talk to Steven about it. Tell Steven I say hi. I was just in there the other day grabbing a pastrami sandwich. Excellent. They are cash only. So it's much more common to see a cash only business in the US than a credit only business. But increasingly, there are more and more businesses that are going in the direction of credit only. And I got to be honest with you, I like it. I've
Yeah?
always not liked carrying cash. I think it was, how long ago was it? I think it was about 7 months ago that I found a $50 bill
Whoa.
in
That's lucky.
somewhere. No, not on the floor. I mean, it was my money.
Oh.
It was just a $50 bill that at some point had been given to me in a card or something
Yeah.
like that. And I was cleaning some stuff and I found it and I put it in my wallet. I only spent that $50 bill in the last month, right? So that
Wow.
same $50 bill with just a few other ones and fives was in my wallet for about 7 or 8 months. I never use cash unless it's absolutely necessary. So I like this, but it is raising a whole bunch of other questions for the stores. Like, for example, when credit card processing is down,
Oh, yeah. What do
what
they
happens
do?
to your business? Do you get shut down? Do you write down people's credit card numbers and later run them on faith that most of the credit card transactions won't be declined? What do? I get why the business would like it, because even if they have to pay 3% or whatever
Right.
it is to process the card, you can move the line way faster when people aren't digging around for change and you don't have to make
Yeah, that's
change for
true.
people. So the business claims that it's good for them for that
Well,
reason.
sometimes it takes a little while to like insert the chip, and then if you have a debit card, like put your PIN number in.
Sure.
I don't think the difference would be that drastic, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But have you come across one of these places that
Never.
only take cards?
No.
I have actually.
I have been. There's a grocery store in Boston where in the last hour or so that they're open, they've already pulled the cash drawers from all of their cash registers. So at that point, they say, we're only accepting credit card right now. If you want to pay with cash, we're going to have to like bring back out a cash drawer, but
Yeah.
not that exclusively accepts credit cards.
I feel like if you're gonna do this, you have to have like a sign on the front door and everywhere throughout the restaurant saying that we only
Definitely.
take cards. The place that I went to, it was a falafel joint, and
Is it the one by in Somerville at
yeah, it's like a
across,
small chain. I think it's a local chain here in the Boston area.
across from Diesel Cafe? Oh, okay. It's in Davis.
Yeah. there's
Okay,
one
I know
there.
the place. I know the
Okay.
place. Yeah, never been, but I know the place.
And what the problem there is that it's kind of like a make line, and you serve yourself, right? So you grab your falafel
Oh, no
and
way.
you put like the hummus in yourself and tabbouleh and beets, whatever else you want to add to the thing.
Right.
And then at the end, you're like holding the falafel sandwich in your hand, and you try to like grab your wallet with the other hand. It's a whole messy process.
Yep.
If at that point I was told that they don't take cash and all I have is cash,
You just put the falafel down on the counter and walk out.
I would maybe even worse. I may throw the falafel at them at that point.
Right.
Get messy.
Some ice cream places are smart about that. They know that once you're holding your ice cream cone, it becomes very difficult to like get what you need to pay. So they will take your order and charge you first. And then, so in other words, instead of standing in front of the ice creams and picking it, and then they hand it to you and then paying, the first thing you do is you go to the register and you order and you pay. And then you move down the line and they make your ice cream for you. It's pretty brilliant.
And I'd imagine this happens from time to time too.
Yeah.
Where people at the end of their order realize that they don't have cash, or and some people just don't even want to use credit cards too because they feel like they're being tracked. They want to be cash only.
Well, when we had Richard Stallman in the studio, he was big on, I don't have any credit cards because I don't want to be tracked with them. I just find it convenient.
Yeah,
That's the truth. And you know what? I want the frequent flyer miles. That's the truth. I don't get frequent flyer miles with cash, and I use the frequent flyer miles.
Maybe we're ahead of our time here because the David Pakman Show hasn't accepted cash in a very long time.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
We've not accepted cash. That's true.
We
Every
should be in
once
the
in a
story.
while, someone will mail in some cash. Like people will mail in a 20 and be like, hey, here's a contribution. We can't accept cash for memberships. We do accept checks, but no.
I just can't mail cash.
I mean, basically, I just deposit it in the bank account for the business, and that's it. I can't really do much else with it. We consider it a donation with no strings attached.
I like it.
When someone mails in. But please don't mail cash, all right? Don't mail cash. We are off on Monday. It's a federal holiday. We believe in vacation. Please don't hate me. Please don't cancel your membership. Please don't cancel on Patreon. It's really important for Pat to get his beauty sleep.
Yes.
And for Noah Ferguson, who's now working with us full time, to be able to get his beauty sleep, and for me to be able to, I don't really sleep in anymore, but just to, I don't know, rewind from the week and relax.
Is this what Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech was all about?
That I don't know, but we will be off on Monday and we'll be back on Tuesday.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.